Hey guys, it's Pretty Good Ike, and today we're going to be taking a look at this vehicle, the T77. We're going to talk about how awesome this vehicle is, how good, how bad, and how awful this vehicle is. And then equipment-wise, fuel modification, and crew matching of this vehicle. Who should purchase this tank, and is it worth spending money on this vehicle in the first place? So let's get started. So firstly, let's talk about what is awesome about this vehicle, right? What is amazing, what stand out. There is one thing that is stand out from this vehicle is the damage output. I'm talking about 3 shell in the magazine, 360 damage per shell, 2-second equip reload. So this vehicle can be able to unload 1080 damage in just 4 seconds after the first shot. That is going to be a massive damage. And also, it has excellent penetration at 232 for the standard round and also 299 for the premium round. This means that this vehicle can be able to connect damage in pretty consistently, and it's pretty powerful that way, right? To be able to like just crowd the damage out. Look at how this poor light tank do in the battle. They just die in 2 seconds because this vehicle just do the damage like that. So the damage wise of this vehicle is definitely absolutely amazing, and I would say that's the only awesome thing of this vehicle, but there's plenty of good things to talk about this vehicle, so let's get started. The good thing about this vehicle, firstly, is going to be the shell velocity. Well, we say that the vehicle can be able to do a lot of damage, right? And it can connect the shell quite consistently as well, because the shell velocity is good, and when the shell velocity is good, then you can connect the shell more, because sometimes you don't have to lead a lot for the shell to burst time, right? Then this vehicle with that stock APCI, it has 1143 stock shell velocity, which is nice to have for the heavy tank, definitely pretty good. And also it has 850 for the premium round, that is the heat. So the premium round is definitely not gonna be that amazing, but oh, look at this comet. His life just ends in 4 seconds sitting in front of this vehicle. That is the powerful thing of this tank, right? It's awesome powerful. You don't need to show velocity in that position, but come on, never mind, right? The second thing that is good about this vehicle is the gun pressure. So we didn't really use the gun pressure that much on this positions, and I would say it's not gonna be that effective here because the ridge line here is just kind of too steep, right? But then 8 degrees of gun pressure, so this vehicle is make this vehicle workable on the ridge line, which is good because I mean every tank will work well on the ridge line if you can do it, right? And also, like if you take a look at the tank on the top, the gun of this vehicle is pretty high, right? I mean it just like you play the UDIS where your gun is literally on top of the tank, so you don't have to expose a lot of your tank to be able to shoot the enemy, and that is obviously the beautiful thing. And also, when you unload that quick, they don't even have the chance to react back, right? So it's amazing that way. Okay, the third thing about this vehicle that is good is armor. Okay, so this tank has armor, but there's a but. It's good, but it's good because this vehicle is auto-loaded. Right, you might be wondering, okay, Mr. Party Good Ike, why auto-loader tanks really do anything to the armor? Okay, here's the thing. This vehicle has such a weird armor profile, and it's not that good, to be honest, but it's quite tricky sometimes for you to go through. Oh, look at that, the MX M445 just surprisingly bound through the side of this vehicle armor, right? Because this vehicle armor, it just works sometimes, and because you are an auto-loader, they can unload the shell within 4 seconds. If the enemy somehow bounce the shell, you can be able to unload and do 1000 damage for free, right? So that is why, even though the tank doesn't even have the best armor in the world, but being auto-loader is actually kind of make your okay armor being better than it used to be, so it's actually quite good in that regard. And the last thing about the good thing about this vehicle is gonna be the view range. This vehicle has 370 stock view range, meaning that if you're gonna take the credit optics on this vehicle, you can be able to get to a maximum spotting range, and it's always good on every single tank, right? But well, you should not use the credit optics on this vehicle because somehow, for some reason, I'm gonna talk about that later on. But yeah, that's kind of limitation of this vehicle, right? But and talking about limitation, this vehicle obviously has some bad things and some awful things to you that we can discuss. So, what is bad about this vehicle? Firstly, is the accuracy. So you can see, right? If I have the line fight against that M12, can I be able to connect the shells against him? I would say no, right? Because the whole team is gonna shoot him before I even finish the aim. And look at the reticle when this vehicle drive around. It just so bloomy. It bloom a lot, right? This vehicle has 0.37 accuracy and 2.7 aim time. That is horrible. So this tank, even though you have such a good in the clip reload, you cannot really reliably connect the shell. Look at that! Like, oh my god, this is the best example about this vehicle accuracy. You have the SPT right in front of you right there, right? You aim it well, and then just click, and it just doesn't go through. It doesn't do the damage because this vehicle has such a bad accuracy, right? Even though you have that shield velocity, even though you have that penetration, it doesn't really help you because you just like you miss the shell, or you can't hit the plate where it meant to be hit, right? So, and also armor work sometimes, like the TV just about actually bounce through. Okay, talking about that, and that is another thing. Can you see how we aim right between the shot, not within 2 seconds? That is also another thing to consider. Alright, sorry for that, I just changed the video here. So, we just talked about the aim time of the tank, right? And the accuracy of this vehicle. And as you can see, this vehicle, even though you have 2 seconds in the clip reload time, but because its accuracy is awful, you still have to aim between the shot to reliably connect the shells anyway. So that 2 second clip reload time, it doesn't really work that way a whole time. Yes, you can unload the shell and do 1000 damage in 4 seconds, ideally, but in real life, when you really play in the battle, you can't really do that, right? So that's the thing, that maybe you have to take 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, because you need to take the time to aim the shells, to connect the shells reliably, otherwise you can miss a shell altogether to do no damage. So that is definitely the bad thing about this vehicle. The second thing about this tank bad thing is the speed. This vehicle has just 48 top speed with a 12 reverse speed. That reverse speed is also really awful, and also it has 16 specific power. This means that this vehicle has limited mobility, right? Look at how awful the reverse speed is. This vehicle reverse so slow, and that is very important because you are autoloader. When you get in around the corner, when you unload the shell, you want to pull back after you reload, right? And you reload, the reverse speed of this vehicle is just so awful. Without some time, you have to receive one more round, and it doesn't really work, right? It's not worth going for the trade anymore when you can't really just do it for free or something like that, or you take 2 shells and then that's kind of the bad thing, right? So that is definitely the bad thing of this vehicle. And the last thing is the hit point. This tank had just 1,450 base hit point, which take this vehicle to one of the worst direct heavy tank hit point in the game. I would say it doesn't really matter that much, but you're an autoloader. If you have a bit more hit point, you're gonna trade more rounds, and you can be able to do more damage, right? Look, 100 more hit point in an autoloader is very important because it might mean that you can do 1,000 more damage, right? You can't Like, you're not trading 1 for 1 here, you're trading 3 for 1, right? So a lot of hit point on auto loader is the thing, but you don't have a lot of hit point is also the thing, because Wargaming already know that and they don't actually give you a lot of hit points, so it's kind of things that it should be, so it's okay. But it's bad, right? So that's the bad thing. That's the last bad thing of this vehicle. So now what's the awful thing about this tank? So as you can see, what are we doing here? Nothing, right? We are reloading. Yes, this vehicle takes forever to reload. This tank has 1,472 DPM, one of the worst at tier A, and also because it's auto loader, right? It takes clip reload, and this tank takes 40-second reload. Yes, 40 seconds, nearly a minute. So after you unload that 1,000 damage, you're gonna have to wait forever until you go back, until you're ready to fire again, right? Look at how I try to penetrate through this PS5, even though with my amazing penetration, PS5 is still hard because PS5 is the most broken tank in the game, right? Whatever. I mean, like, I hit 1 round, and then okay, there is a lot of enemy that's in the town, and it feels like, oh yeah, that's juicy. I want to just go in and unload and do extra 1,000 damage, but then I'm just hitting here, then unload and reload, reload. It just takes forever for this way to reload, and that is absolutely, it's really the awful thing of this tank. So I would say that's really the thing. Like, talking about the T77, can it really kill the enemy T77? No, not really. It's hard, right? But at least we connect the shell. So yes, I'm just gonna end the replay here. Alright, so next let's talk about the equipment of that you should install on this vehicle if you pick it up and you want to play this vehicle effectively. I would say this vehicle doesn't really have a lot of alternative setup to play with, because the thing is, as I just reviewed previously, this vehicle has awful accuracy. So we're gonna have to improve that, right? We're gonna make the best out of that. So the equipment that I would suggest for you is gonna be vents, it's gonna be improved rotation mechanism, and it's gonna be the vertical stabilizer. So these 3 equipment is just for that god awful accuracy and try to improve that as best as possible, right? So I don't think you can go wrong with this too, because this vehicle, if you can connect the shell consistently, you can't really go wrong, right? But then if you're the player who really hates having vents, which I don't know how could you hate that. I mean, like, if you love having improved hunting, we just talk about 100 more hit points on this vehicle means that you might be able to do 1,000 more damage, right? And if you want that idea, if you love that idea, then the improved hunting is also going to be the equipment of choice that you can use for this vehicle to play as well. That's also gonna be good. But then for me, I think I would suggest you to go for the vents anyway, because the tank doesn't really have an overall statistic to go for the improved hunting or to sacrifice vents, to be exact. Alright, for the fuel modification, you have 3 options here that you can choose on the 3 modification, right? So I would suggest you to go for the all-terrain suspensions, the thorax adjustments, and the Curve electric drive. I would say the turn speed, the ground resistance is always nice, the accuracy beyond aim time is always better, and also V-range, because more V-range, you can't go wrong with that, right? So remember, left, right. So that's the few modification that you should get on this vehicle. Don't forget to select the 5 power bonus to get your accuracy even better, because that's really important on this vehicle, right? So the next thing is going to be the crew matchings on this vehicle, and luckily this vehicle has 4 crew with the commander as a radio operator. This means that this vehicle has exactly the same standard US heavy tank crew, just like the T77 Heavy, just like the T110E5 and the M5Y. All of the tier 10 US heavy tank have exactly the same crew setup, so you're not gonna have any problem putting those crew inside the T77, and obviously you're gonna go for the T57 Heavy, right? Because I mean, look at the tank. Next question is, who should get this tank? Well, I would say this vehicle because the ability to do burst damage with trade-off of the long reload and bad speed, something like that. This vehicle is actually quite similar to those derpy tank or the derp gun like the FE405, KV2, and what is that called, Caliban or something like that. So if you love those vehicles, then I don't think you can go wrong with the T77. And also, if you don't want to pick up this vehicle, then how can you fight this vehicle? As we can see on the statistic review, this vehicle takes forever to reload, right? It takes what, 35 second reload with the good crew and everything. You have a very long opening after this vehicle unload, and also you know that this vehicle is not gonna unload that accurately. So if you try to use a ridge line and then just poke around a little bit on the ridge line, even though you don't have any armor, it's not gonna be that easy for this vehicle to connect the shells in. The only scenario that you don't want to be in on fighting against this vehicle is right in front of it, where it can just shoot you without aiming, right? So, but then if that happens, then make sure you punish this vehicle after it's unload and when it's reload, because it doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the DPM to get away from you, and also it doesn't have the speed to run away as well, right? So punish it after it reload. That's gonna be the biggest vulnerable part of this vehicle for sure. The last question is gonna be, is this vehicle worth spending money for? So, alright, so if you are the one that I just said before, if you are the one that loves the dub, then I would say definitely this vehicle is worth spending money for. It's enjoyable. But then if you are not, I would say there's still place for this vehicle to be in your garage. I mean, it's kind of the unique experience that you can't really get from any heavy tank. But then there is a but, right? So if you want to get this vehicle, there is maybe some comparison or some other better tank like T-Saw that literally can do very close to this vehicle, and one extra shell that you can shoot, so you can have like 1,300 potential damage on that vehicle. Or if it's gonna be a heavy tank, the Bisonte, even though it reloads slower, it has armor to take the shells. Or it's gonna be IS-3A with a reverse auto reloader systems that it gets more DPM once it's empty the magazine, so it's crazy that way, right? So it doesn't have to sit there and spend time reloading forever. So I mean, this vehicle is good, but it's still not the best tank that you can get. That's what I want to say about it, right? So yes, it has a place. But if you are looking for this exact playstyle, you might consider the other options. Right, there you have it. That's the T77 review. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me the comments down below what you think about this vehicle. Like, share, subscribe if you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.